And then you've got Chris Hayes, who also doesn't work too hard, getting on the air last night, Tuesday. Why? Because every weekend is a 3-day weekend for Chris Hayes, but he really wants to weigh in on the horrible Ronna McDaniel. Listen here.
As you might know, we don't have a show on weekends or on Mondays. And most of what I wanted to say about all this has already been said very well by my colleagues. In the end, all you can really ask of people in our profession is diligence and open-mindedness and critical thinking, and above all else, and this is really important to me, good faith. When I'm speaking to you here right now, I'm not putting on a show about what I think and believe. This is it. Oh. I could be wrong about things. Lord knows I must be sometimes. I might have opinions you think are wrong. We might tell stories in ways that you think leave stuff out or emphasize a wrong angle. But the key to this entire enterprise is a kind of bedrock trust. The trust that we really are acting in good faith. We really are trying to get it right. We are not feeding you lies to be good team players.
I am not putting on a show about what I believe and think. That's actually exactly what you're doing. And I love that it all boils down to good faith. And we know that's not true, because if it were true, they would have gone back and corrected the record on, for example, Russia, a lie they told over and over for 3 years. And if it were a good faith mistake, Batya, you and I know they would have gone back and said, we got it wrong. We gave you the best reporting at the time. It turned out to be false. Never. Not Chris Hayes, not Rachel Maddow, not Nicole Wallace, obviously not Joy Reid, none of them.
Everybody who's listening right now should go back and watch your video from yesterday, because you did such an amazing job of teasing out the deep hypocrisy that goes on here. You were saying earlier, these people are out of touch, right? Barbra Streisand, out of touch. It's totally fine if God rewards you and makes you somebody who never has to talk to people who are working class again, say thank you to God. But what used to be was people who had achieved that level of success, like Joy Reid, like Chris Hayes, like Rachel Maddow, they had a level of humility that came along with that. It used to be called noblesse oblige, like this sense that you owe something back to the community, to the nation that made you so successful. And the difference with these people is they don't believe in that. They don't believe in God. They believe that it was their own merit that got them these millions and millions and millions of dollars. And as a result, they don't feel that they owe anything to anybody. The opposite, they have to protect the system that they believe elevated them. And so the way you do that is by silencing anybody who dares to object. And so instead of saying to working class people, look, I'm so successful, I know, I get it, but what can I do to make sure that you have the modest things that you want? They silence them and call them racist and call them fascists. And which brings me back to Ronna McDaniel. It's so funny because, she's not even that representative of where the GOP is at, right? Donald Trump doesn't like her. He feels like she was sort of working against him to bring back the old GOP. But even that kind of a person, they cannot stomach, because as you rightly pointed out yesterday, Megyn, they cannot stand the idea of giving the other side a fair hearing, because they know that if they do, it's going to be curtains for them.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing as the lawfare that they're unleashing against Donald Trump, because they don't want the voters, those racist, white, rural, dumb, beer-drinking voters, to have a say, because they're too stupid. Joy and Chris and Rachel need to decide. They're the smart ones, okay? That's really the message behind everything they say. You know what? They do say that in good faith. That is something they actually believe and telegraph night after night. We played this soundbite recently. It was, was it after? It was after Trump lost one of the many legal challenges, or when Trump won one of the legal challenges. It was on immunity. It was on immunity. And the Supreme Court took the case. That's what it was. He had lost the immunity argument at the lower court, and the liberals were banking on the Supreme Court not reviewing that decision. So he'd have to go pedal to the metal on the J6 case and others. Well, the Supreme Court took it, and the left freaked out. And this was Chris Hayes after that decision came down.
That they would rob the People's Department of Justice the opportunity to present all the evidence of his guilt. That the voters of this country, you and I, the hundreds of millions of us, might be robbed of the information we need to determine whether the man is guilty of the gravest crime any politician has been accused of since the Civil War. If you were hoping that Donald Trump's authoritarian disregard for the rule of law was going to be stopped by Americans' institutions and the court at the highest level, that hope is severely diminished today. The Mueller investigation didn't stop him. 2 congressional impeachments did not stop him. Today is the starkest proof yet that in the zero-sum battle between MAGA and democracy, there was and is only one thing that could ever truly stop Donald Trump, and that is we the people. Americans voting against him, a majority.
Hey, right? And he's like, oh, shit. Oh, no.
He's almost there. He's almost there, right? Like he's 3/4 of the way there. Of course, Donald Trump prevailing over a host of competitors in the primary who outspent him 2-1. Like if he were a Democrat, they would be noting this for what it is, which is a triumph of the will of the people, right? If you think about Donald Trump, and this is my plug for people who are really, really don't like him, and they're really upset that he's, possibly going to win again. I get it. I get that a lot of people don't like his character. But if you care about democracy, and we should all care about democracy, you have to admit that seeing him crush a competition that is outspending him 2-1 is nothing short of a triumph of the will of the people. You have to admit that him triumphing over the lawfare and the billions of dollars and the institutional might that the Democrats have thrown at him, that a person in America can still beat those odds just through the will of the people showing up and casting their ballot. If you care about democracy, I'm begging you to acknowledge this is a win. This is what democracy looks like.
Mm-hmm. I love how he says it's between MAGA and democracy. Like you say, you're almost there. Oh, believe it or not, they have a role in the democracy too. Debt. You can go to bed thinking about it. You can wake up thinking about it too. Here's the truth. The system traps you in debt. High interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay off your debt, and insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. Done with Debt can be your lifeline. Done with Debt has an ingenious new strategy to help erase your debt faster and easier than you thought possible. Done with Debt analyzes all the debt options that you qualify for. They know how to reduce bills. They know how to cut interest rates. Their skilled staff of negotiators know how to get debt out of your life permanently, without bankruptcy and without a loan. Done with Debt has experts who can share with you strategies for eliminating debt. But you do need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Here's how easy they make it. Go to donewithdebt.com. 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 Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.